Hello and welcome to Get Dell's Gaming. I'm Dell and this is From the Depths Designer. Once more, we are back in here this episode to part 2 of our sea carrier revamp and our spawner system for vehicles. And what we will be looking at now, if you've followed the previous part, you'll see how I've created the spawner system using the blueprint spawners. So we're going to continue with that on and look at another ship. And the last one we did quite well. We got it down to that Interceptor was in the end a very small number of blocks. I think it was, I can't remember the exact number of blocks, but it was under 200 blocks, which was very impressive. I think it was even 160, which actually surprised me how small it was. This one is going to most probably be a little larger. Just sheer number of weapon systems I'd like to put on this to a degree. The Air Interceptor didn't have many weapon systems because it was going against aerial targets. Generally, you only have to hit something vital and you take the ship out. This particular build, though, what we're going to be going up, what we will be going up against, is going to be submarines. That's my target for this ship. And what I mean by submarines are vehicles. Well, I say, what do I mean by submarines? Well, that's bloody obvious. It's submarines. No, we're going to be aiming specifically at targets that go less than approximately 10 meters under the water. Not just large ships that have a large keel where the AI is actually under the water. So we're going to have to be a bit careful on that. But we're going, examples of the submarine are like the, was it Marianas? The Biofrost, and I think there's one in the Deepwater Guard, which is the, not the Sabertooth, but something like that. It had, I remember it had rotating, like a saw on the, it might have been Sawtooth or something like that. So they specifically travel about 30 meters under the water, or even lower. And to attack them, we will need a torpedoes. And I'm also going to be looking at using, say, some mines. Not mines, depth charges, I should say. A depth charge system on it, so that we can basically. Oops, that's the wrong place. Didn't want that. Yeah, so that I can basically drop some depth charges on it, and or launch some torpedoes which have a neutral buoyancy to go and follow the target. As far as the vehicle itself, my idea. So that's the weapon systems we're going to put on it. The vehicle itself, I'm going to make it a rotorcraft. I haven't done many helicopters, so it seems a bit of fun to maybe do a helicopter and such. That could be interesting for it. We'll see how it goes. The aim of the ship is it will fly, say, around 100 meters. Not too high. High enough, but not too high. Maybe even lower than that. But maybe even just 50 meters off the seafloor, which will be controlled by control blocks, which will just keep it about that range. And then the idea is it will fly over the top of the target and then hover around the target, dropping mines and smallish torpedoes. Now, the torpedoes, I'm thinking here, not create massive torpedoes that are fired at thousands and thousands of meters away. We're going to basically go over the top of the target and drop torpedoes which will quickly home in from directly above. I think that could be an interesting. So we might even have vertical dropped torpedoes. I've got to work that one out there. We'll see how that works. Using a one turn, we should be able to get it to lock on to the targets. We might have to have a bit of experimentation with infrared and sonar. The other side is, let's see, we're going to give it some defences because it is a slow-moving target. It is, unlike the Interceptors, which have some speed and defence against being shot and destroyed. This is going to be slow-moving, so it's got to potentially going to be taken out by lasers and or missiles. So we'll give it a missile defense system, some interceptor missiles, some flares, and possibly some smoke. So we will do a few defences on it as well. So it's going to make it a slightly larger ship because of all those systems. Right, shape and flight. I'm thinking, right, I've started off giving a sort of structure here. Let's see, how else can we do this? I'm thinking of taking a note out of the bit of reality and going for a sort of like a helicopter style of ship in some description, rather than doing the Ladybird like I did previously. I'm going to go for a slightly more see, how high do we need that? I'm just working out, we need some room for the engine, so I'm thinking a rotor craft on the top, so a rotor block around here roughly. We might have to move it around. We can see the centre of gravity is there, but we'll see how that changes. On the rear here will be our main left and right controllers. Maybe put some, either, we'll see. We might can't put sideways rotors on there at the moment. I don't think they have a directional control without some complex controllers, so I might leave them off. I might just go for some jets or something on the rear, just to act as a directional stability. Maybe with my flares and or missiles has dropped off of the rear. This centre section, the aim is to make this have all of the primary controls and the engine. So maybe put the engine in here. So I'm thinking crank, cylinder, and something on top. So we don't need something too large. Again, it'll be fairly small, and the AI and other bits and pieces like that. So I'm going to leave the rotor at the moment. The rotor will be going here, and the other bit I will need for the rotor will be a couple of control blocks. We'll put them here. They will be for the height control, so they will make it go up and down, basically. Just a simple height control system. Right, so let's see what else is going to be heavy. Right, what we'll do is let's start with the engine here. Again, normally I'd start the weapon systems, but I want to get a gauge of how big this vehicle is going to be before I start putting weapon systems on here. So an engine block, using the old press G button trick. Let's see if that has worked. There we go. They're about that big. And some cylinders. We don't need too big a thing. Actually, I might be able to just get away with a free crank on this. Let's see if that's going to be big enough for our needs. Plenty of carburetors. Carburetor. Not quite a red barchetta, but it is a carburetor. And we'll just put a couple of superchargers on it. Don't need many superchargers in this type of build. And also, I should have said something before, that the power that I get from my engines, it's a little bit deceiving, because something I keep on forgetting about when I'm doing this is that I have quite a few points in my character's abilities. Now, should I go out 2 or not? Let's just see what we go without going out 2. Keep it a little slimmer. Let's see, what power have we got there? So we've got 362. Now, when it goes live, that will increase, because, yeah, if I go to here, options, and then go to, no, that's the wrong one, that's the wrong one. If I go to my character sheet, you can see under engineer, I have 60 points. I've still got 68 unused points, but I've got 60 points. Which basically gives me a 1.76 modifier to my engine power. So that means that although I am getting about 362, normally people would get 200 and something out of that normally. So I am getting a little bit higher value. Or it is possible when we bring this in and out, we might find, you know, that the value down on the power, this is actually the true value. When it spawns in with my engineer proficiency, that will go up from 363 to a higher value. Now I just need to check that. Let me just check something. If I put in a chair here, suddenly got me thinking. Yeah, see now you see I am on the ship and the power system down below has changed. The ship is showing 362, but down on the right hand side it is showing 640. I take my character out of the area. Let's see if he extends out. No, I'm still on this ship, so he's still giving it. Let me just try and put him onto back onto the starter raft. And let's just go and pick this up again. And we're back to 363. Okay, so yeah, my character affects it when I am on the craft. Something to be aware of. So really, I don't want my... If you're doing something which is built with a lot of power, and you need to know how much power, don't put your character on it whilst you're building, because you'll get an incorrect value for when you go to AI mode. Okay. I knew that it was being affected. I wasn't sure 100% at which point, so now I know. Okay, that should be enough anyway. 363 for everything we need to do. AI. We'll put the AI just behind. Yes, this is not going to be necessarily great as far as what's the right word? It's liable to get hit. Actually, let's not put it. Let's just put it upside down. Let's put the AI mainframe on the top. It doesn't have to be that way up. It can be upside down. And we'll put a left and right card just there. And then we'll put the transmitter the other side. So where are we? Where are we? Transmitter again. And we'll put the transmitter on here. There. So we can have it transmitting for all the lovely bits. And on here, what do we need? We need an aerial AI. And we will need a target prioritization, because we need to make sure it goes after subs. I'm going to have to work on how do I... We're going to have to see, do a bit of test on target prioritization, how I can make it go for things which are under the water. Because normally the height value is a... I've got to put that as a big minus or big plus? I'll have to... Another little bit of checking. Anyway. We'll give a bit of top-down protection to this area. There, yes, I should have had the mirror line on, but I haven't. Tough. There we go. There's a little bit of protection on the top for my AI and bits and pieces, which gives me some room down here for maybe my weapon controller for some of the main weapon systems. Okay, that's a good start. Right, so plan. Let's see. Weapon systems, defense systems. Defense systems will dot around at the end, and I'm thinking here, put some on the rear. Maybe some flares and anti-missile systems downward facing, and when it detects something, it just drops and fires. Drop, rock and roll. We'll see how that goes. That might work quite nicely. Some mix flares and, or actually, I might try. I had a good thought of an all-in-one, which is a flare interceptor. What? So it's basically an interceptor missile that has a flare on it as well. So it does two jobs at once. It's worth a try. You never know. It may work. I'm up for something unusual. Hey, why not? And then we can maybe put laser detectors somewhere else on this. And some cloud bits. Let's do the offensive weapons. I like to be offensive. So I want offensive weapons, please, sir. Sir, can I have some offensive weapons? Right, so we want torpedoes. Now, if we say we have torpedoes first launching out. Now, I'm going to give this a bit of a solid base down here. We're using a metal just to give it a bit of protection. So we're going to have some protection to the front and directly below, but maybe the side will be a bit vulnerable. weight is the rotor. We can put plenty of rotors on this, so weight isn't really a big issue. And I'm only going up to about 50 meters, so I'm not too worried about the weight of this. I think we'll be able to make this fly one way or another. Okay, so right, we can have the torps underneath. Yes, just underneath here. Yes. How many blocks should we have them? If we go for a 5-block torpedo, so let's say it points out there. That's a nice marker. So there and there. So that will be our missile 6-way connector just there. Let's say we have 3 launch pads. Yes, I'm going to put the mirror line on. I've had enough. I need the mirror line now. I'm doing things which need to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we're going to put the controller. And we will put an identify friend or foe. And we will put... Oops, don't want that mirrored though. That's the same time you don't want the mirror line. Nah. Right, okay, and the staggered fire. We'll have a bit of a stagger on it. Yeah, that should be do. And then we'll need our AI controller. So weapons controller. With a transmitter. Wireless receiver. Okay, and we'll put some metal blocks just around that. So that should be enough just to give that a bit of protection. And let's see, we'll need a metal slope 4 meter just to protect. Having a moment, bear with me. There we go. A little bit further on than that. Just there. Protect the main vital parts underneath, might as well. So let's just quickly have a look at what we're going to put in here. So we're going to have 2 types of torpedo. We're going to go for, obviously, torpedo propeller, a fin, and a fuel tank. That's the primaries of it. Then we will need, let's see, let's work on the other end. We'll do a couple which are infrared and 1 sonar, just to see how they go. We'll need a warhead. We will go for 2. We'll go for an explosive. I'm doing mostly mix the warheads, an explosive with a penetrator. That's going to be a high explosive one. A 1 turn. Yeah, we will need a 1 turn. Target prediction guidance. Potentially, yes. The other point we're going to need is a ballast tank, which has a 0 basis on it. That should be fine. Yep. Float depth 0. Buoyancy 0. So it should find its own height. The 1 turn will aim it directly at the target. 2 fins, yeah. Okay, let's go for 2 fins and 1 fuel tank. That should be enough. This is going to be a short range missile. We're not going to have a regulator. We're not going to have a proximity fuse. Yeah, no, we'll leave the proximity fuse off. The idea is this will produce lots of them. Now this one will change. We'll put an EMP on the front, just to be a bit different, but otherwise it's the same. And this one we're going to change, because this one we're going to put on a sonar. So just in case. Reason for the difference. What if the target is laying flares? And I'm going to change it to an EMP explosive. Why not? But otherwise, it is the same. Target prediction, I think that should work. And we might change that to an APN. Yeah, let's make this totally different. Let's make that an APN. With a proximity. Let's go way out. Let's just have fun. Now we don't need it. We only need it 2 meters, so it's 2.5 meters. So it's just slightly sticking out. Okay. And forehead delay 2 seconds. We're going to put that up to 4. I think that hopefully that does affect the proximity fuse. Range 2.5, angle outwards 45. That's fine. I want it going forwards, so at 20 degrees. Just type it in. 20. There we go. Okay, so that's some torpedoes that it'll drop, and it should drop them relatively quickly. Now we'll have to define the parameters for this. So maximum altitude is going to be a -10. Not worth firing at anything that's not at least 10 meters under the ground. And maximum range is, I reckon they're going to have a range of about 1,000. So we'll say a maximum range of about 1,000. So it will start firing these as it comes into the target, which should be fine. Other than that, that should be all it needs. The only other bit I might do is put some constraints on it at the moment, because obviously it's going to go 180. So what if we we'll make those a little bit bigger so I can see what's happening. If we make it so that it does it only when it's in, say, 90 degrees. So you can see all of the markers changing. So there we go. It's only going to fire at targets that are within 90 degrees of the item, rather than firing at things that are right behind it, because that just wouldn't be sensible. So we'll just put everything on 90 degrees there. Okay, that looks cool. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that, yeah. Right, next. How are we doing with block count? We're at 100 blocks, that's fine. We've got... this is going to be a bit bigger, I've already said that. Right, depth charges. And we need something on the front as well, because it's looking a little bare on the front here. Don't like that. We're going to need something. Maybe, I just thought of something. Maybe I need to put my anti-missile systems and that on the front. Yes, that sounds like a plan. So we might use the front for that instead. Which means my depth charge system could be on the back here. Yeah, we could have that here. That could be, and the front just points out with all of the defensive systems on the front of it. That's got potentiality to it. I have potentiality. So let's just shape this out a little bit of what I'm thinking, and let's put the mirror line on. So we'll put that going out there, and this will be then filled with the anti-defensive systems. That will be filled in there, and we'll have this. Not that one. We'll have to use when we'll sort of block it in a little bit like this, just to give it a little bit of look. And yes, let's metal this up a little bit. Let's give it a bit of defense. Come on. It's got to look reasonable. Should be using alloys here, I guess, which I'm not. So me. I could actually get some more torpedoes. I think 3 is enough. Where's that metal hallway slope diagonal cut? There we go. Nice. I like that. And on the top as well. That's going to give it a nice bit of defensive metal. It should survive a little bit, and then we have defensive measures coming out the front. I will need to put some 2 meter slopes in here, 2 meter triangles. Is that 1 meter? I want 2 meter. No, that's not right either. Where are you? 2 meter. 2 meter. There we go. There. And we'll need it underneath as well. There we go. That looks reasonable. I like that. I like it. I like it. I like it. I like it. Right. Happy with that one. So, depth charges then. How can we have the depth charge system? If we have it along the back here, it's just going to be like a whole collection of missiles, which I just hope gets close to the enemy to be able to fire. We need one which is going to have the controller staggered fire. So, controller... Oh no, we can put some of the those bits around here actually. Don't need to be on there. So how many have we got there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll have 6. And then we'll need a launch pad. Facing it down. And what else do we need? We need missile blocks. 3. I think 3 would be enough. I think 3 should be adequate to what we are after. Right, so what else do we need to put in here? These are not directed, so... or should I just... let's see. Ballast tank. I could make these magnetic, I suppose. Let's see, a ballast tank with a -5. A magnet, proximity, and a warhead. I could... Let's just make these 2. Let's make these quick firing. Might even increase the number of them. Right, let's put some controllers on here. Missile controller. We could guess because we could put. It's not like to say we have to have the controller near the center. It could be here. Controller. Where's weapon controller? Missile controller. Put that in there. Haha. And we will need a staggered fire add-on, which we can put just about anywhere, except it's got to be on a block, so we'll put it just here. There. And we will take off the stagger line quickly. We will put a... does friend or foe work with magnets? We shall find out. Or more appropriately, our other ships will find out. Right, let's put some blocks in now. I need some metal blocks. I want metal blocks. More metal blocks, please. Metal blocks in there and in there, because I've now turned off the mirror line, and just when I need it, so I have to go back and put on the mirror line. Thank you very much. Right. Here we go. Right, we're going to put a second row. I've decided we need some more. We're going to make this a little bit more powerful. I did say this was going to be bigger. Maybe this is over big, but hey ho. It could be that it just does what it needs in a single run. That would be good, actually. I think I'd be impressed with that. Right. Let's have a look at this missile. So we're going to have, start at the other end. We're going to have a magnet. Where are we? A magnet, and an explosive warhead. I did think about should I go for a EMP or something like that, but nah, I would do this. Now we need a ballast tank. Where's my ballast? And the ballast tank is going to be set at a buoyancy of a -5, which means it will sink in the water. Well, that is its aim is to sink and go down, rather than floating on the surface. Now the final one is I could put a proximity fuse on there, but I'm thinking actually with the magnet I don't need a proximity fuse, or do I? Do I need a proximity fuse because the magnet doesn't always point forwards, for want of a better word. So I think having a proximity fuse might be a better insurance of it hitting, or the magnet's always going to draw it towards the target. It will eventually blow up. No, okay, let's try it with an EMP as well. So explosive. I'm not going to use fragment because fragments would only fire forwards, and when it gets drawn towards its target, I don't know where it's going to be aiming. So okay, that's going to be our HE-EMP depth charges. Now I'm going to put, okay, well, we'll put some more. We better cover these up a little bit. I'm losing a bit of my helicopter-y shape here, to be honest. But at the same time, I don't think that's really that important. I mean, it's keeping it a little bit. So it's still sort of got a traditional helicopter shape, just not as much as normal. It's still a little bit open to being taken out, but not excessively. We'll put a bit of cover. I haven't put a weapon controller in here, have I? No, I haven't. So we'll put that in there now. Put it straight down, local weapon controller. And also I need to sort out one fairly important item. And what is that important item? And that is the constraints. Because we only want this dropping down. We don't want this dropping too early. Because that would be silly. Right, okay, constraints again. Maximum altitude is going to be -10 again. We could drop this on other items, but we'll say 10 and then put a minus in front. There we go. And maximum range. Now let's assume, that we're flying around at around 50 meters. And our target is going to have to be below us, and he could be at least, say, 200 meters under the water. And so that's 250 meters. And he could be in front of us, or slightly to the side, etc. So we're going to want to drop this at roughly about 350 meters, I think, would be a good target distance to start dropping at the mine, so they've got a chance of impacting. I think that would be good. Now our stagger fire, where did I do with the stagger fire? It was in one of these sides, and I'm sure that's at IFF. There we go. We want quite a long stagger on this, so it just constantly keeps dropping mines over the target, ideally. And now our controller, which is just here, we want to put some constraints on this, so that generally, let's see which way our markers are showing at the moment. Okay, even though we've pointed it down, it's got to be in there. Right, so okay, let's just work this out. So we want it to be, the azimuth could be 100. It's the elevations that's got to be in control here. We only want it to fire when it's within about 30 degrees. So let's see, straight down is going to be 90, so that's going to be 60 degrees here. And this way is going to be from 90, add 30, so that's going to be 120 degrees. These azimuths, I don't, you know, that doesn't matter if they're in front or behind. But that will mean it will only drop them when the target is 30 degrees below us. That's fine. I'm okay with that. I only want it to drop when we're below. We'll obviously have to make sure how the ship flies, what sort of angle it keeps at. Now, okay, so what are we up to now? Defences. Defences. Right, let's think this through. What would be good? For defences, we've got two types of systems we need. Anti-missile and anti-laser. We will not going to worry about shields. Lightning hoods don't have many cannons, and we've got metal. So, there we go. Yeah, that's just good enough. We are going to take damage in some components, so be it. These are also, don't forget, these are supposed to be fairly cheap. Yeah, that's fairly cheap. A little bit more higher block count, but the actual RP value of this is actually cheaper than the Inti so far. So the idea is to keep it cheap, so if it gets blown up, we just build another one. That's basically it. Okay, now I'm most probably going to have to change this a little bit. I'll show you why in a second. Right, we're going to first of all put our missile detector. Now, where are we going to put that? Where can we put the missile detector? Why if I put it down here? That's going to interfere with those missiles. We could put it just on the front, I suppose. We could put it up here. Let's see. We've got a rotor here. So we've got height of 2. Yeah, we can put it up here. We can put it up here. Yes, we can. It can go just here. So, new object. Except that won't detect underneath. It could go on the back. Doesn't have to be on the front. Yeah. Sort of possible. That's possible. Then it won't detect on the front. Okay, we're going to put it on the front because that's the primary area it's going to have to detect. So we'll put a metal block just here. Now we don't have it downwards, sort of downward facing. So we're going to have a new object, a spin block. Precision spin block. And then we're going to put our AI 6-way. And then we should put this in a little bit just to... I'm not happy with that. Let's bring it in one more. There we go. So it doesn't point out quite as badly. I was not happy with that aesthetically. There we go, that's there. And now we put our AI 6-way connector. And then on this, we are going to put some missile warners. One on the front, and some on the sides. There we go. And we can actually, we could put our laser warner on here as well. Because as far as I'm aware, the laser warners are omnidirectional. Let's have a look at the settings on this. So it's within 20 blocks, which is about the length of the ship. So that's close enough. Deploy smoke within that 20 blocks. And yeah, 1 per warning. And we'll reduce that time factor to so that every half a second it would deploy a smoke. That should do. Right, and then we need a wireless, so it can talk to the system. There we go. Okay, so that's our little system there, and we will need a control block to make that spin. Just put it here. There we go. Dum dum dum. Right. Activate every few seconds, doesn't really matter. It could be every 3 seconds for the moment. Spin block within 1, 2, 3 squares. You always count the one you're on. It doesn't work quite as people. Set rotation to speed to 2. There we go. So that should detect missiles in front and then to the side by rotating, and obviously the rotation ones will also pick ones down below as well. Only bad side of this center point here, potentially missiles will hit this as they're going out. But since these are interceptors, I think we're okay. Let's get these bits in here done next then. So what we need here is some 6-ways. We could ignore that center one and have that for the controller anyway. So we just have that still gives us 7. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Launch pad. And now some missile blocks. Are we going to get enough? Yeah, we'll get enough. 1, 2. Ha 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 ha. Okay, I want to get 3, not 2. Okay, I think we'll be alright. We'll be alright. I mean, it'll work. Because it stops it. Arsh. Arsh. Okay, we will have to be redoing this bit then. This is a little bit longer than I want. Okay, let's do this differently then. Let's start slightly differently. Let's sort this out first, and then put the detectors on. So we'll put that there. We'll add the extra one in since I'm elongating this a little bit now. So we're going to have to take these bits off. Put them on. Yes, I haven't put the mirror line on. I'll tell you what, should I put a mirror line on? Might be helpful. It will reduce the time that I'm clicking. It's only because I'm a numpty. Right, okay, let's see, let's increase the size of this area. Metal beam, can I use some beams? No, we'll just use some blocks. I should, yeah. Yeah. And we put those slopes back. I've had comments about why do I use the mouse instead of using the keyboard way of doing it. And I've got to say, what's the difference? You know, what does it matter? I should say not what the difference is, because the difference is obvious. That's being Mr. Obvious, that would be. What I'm saying is does it really matter? I just find it useful doing it this way. I would say you'll notice earlier on, I did it with the keyboard. And sometimes I do it with keyboard, and sometimes I do it with the mouse. It's all a matter of what you feel comfortable with. As in any type of system, if you are comfortable, it will be quicker for you. So, in that regard, does it matter too much which system I happen to use? As long as I am comfortable using it, that's all that's really important. Okay, now what we're going to do here is we're going to have our metal blocks, and I'm going to raise up the detector by 1. So it goes on there instead, and then we're going to put our missile controller down here, and we will need a control block on top of that controller. Can't go on the top of it because it's being. I can just go here. There we go. Face it that way. There we go. And this one will be simply set to if enemy. Where are we? If hostile missile is within 500 meters. This will be a. Hostile missile closer than. It's. He's increased it. This is nice. This is nice. I like this. I like this. Let's say 750 then. Now, I don't know if it was me listening to, but I did complain about the distance of detection on this, not providing enough. So now it's improved that. I like that. I'm going to have to change that on my other ships. Just noticed that one. Devgasm. Sorry, that's terrible. But yes, that was interesting. I'm happy that he has changed that value. Alright, so this one will be for the spin block. I'll create the spin block before I actually put it on there. So we put a little spin block. Where's my new object? Spin block. Precision spin block. I like it when a plan comes together. And 6-way. Sorry, nerdgasms. Oh, it's terrible. Terrible, but you know, such is life. I can't help it. Right, laser warner under there, and we'll change the values of the laser, not to be a warning laser. 20 and 20. And 1 smoke every half a second. Every half a second, if it detects lasers, it will deploy smoke. And we'll go back. We'll create the deployers in a minute, because I has a plan, sir. I has a plan. It is a cunning plan. More cunning than a fox from Cunningham. Okay, so that's our detector. It's not great, and I'm actually thinking that maybe my mirror line's not on. Wasn't happy with that looks. Let's put a metal beam in there instead, and then we will put maybe our slopes here. Why did that not put that? Okay, let's do that again. Metal beam, thank you, and one of them, thank you. And we might need a little blocky in there. Blocky. Okay. Then back here, what we're gonna do is six-way connectors. Put a receiver on the end. And this will be our smoke deployer. I'm putting them all near the front because this is, I think, going to be mainly going forwards. We need the smoke near the front so it will slowly move backwards. I think that would be good enough for smoke deployment randomly around the ship against lasers. Okay, okay. Before I go any further, missile defense system here. And why is it only doing that one? It should be doing a whole load. Have I got something wrong here? I've got something wrong. Let's have a check. Something is not right. Have I not aimed it up correctly? I've not aimed that up correctly. I'm a numpty. I'm a numpty. Therefore I'm okay. Okay, let's take that out there and put it there instead. And I can then put the control block down there. Automatic control block. That'll do. And I was getting so orgasmed on the range factor of the hostile missiles, I forgot to check that I was doing this correctly. So that's a range of 2. Yes, they've all loaded up with missiles now. Good. Right, put these ones back. There we go, and the radio, wireless, receiver, put that on there. There we go. Now these are the ones I was going to say I was going to do something a little strange. So we've got a short range thruster, fine. We will put a bin and a fuel tank. Now the main bit here is we've got an interceptor on the front, and I'm going to put a flare on the back, which basically, so these go straight away. Warhammer is delay is going to be nothing straight away on. Oh, actually 0.1, just to be on the 0.2, just to be on set. Right, sticky flare, delay after 1 second. So if you haven't 1 second, 0.5. After 5 seconds, half a second. Oh, ignite for 20 seconds. And what we're going to do here is going to put an extra fin on there and a fuel tank. There we go. So basically these are flare interceptors. So they'll go out, do their chasing of missiles, which is one good thing. They will also lay flares. So hopefully any missiles coming in will actually get attracted to the interceptor missile itself. That is the plan. Right, let's sort out this here, which is the activated every, say, 5 seconds. And spin block, set rotation speed to test that. There we go. So, yes, we're getting there. We are getting there. So, next part on this build is propulsion, rotors, and make the puppy fly. I think that's all I need to worry about. I've got a couple of bits. Maybe I need to just cover this up here. Not happy with that. So let's just go for that there. And change this to be maybe just a block. Like that. That looks fine. It's not the nicest of planes. We will need some thruster type of system on the back, possibly to make it turn left and right. So what I'm thinking of is a little jet engines on the back as reverse thrusters. And we go in here and we go thruster reverse, and here as well thruster reverse. Now, just so that it's not totally, what we do is we put in a small little tailplane just in there. That just makes it think it can use that as well, but it's mainly to use these to thrust around. Now let's find the center point and sort out this rotor. So the center point is now there between those two blocks. So do I want it nose down or nose up? I'll have it nose down. So it's just there. Now I think I can most probably push it back a little bit. Let's see if that made any difference. No, it's between those two blocks. So we'll put it on this block for the moment. We can always balance it off by putting some weight on the rear. So what I've done is I'm setting the rotor. And what we're going to use is we're going to use the dedicated heli blade. There we go. And let's just make sure that's that done. Will that cut through, or is that going to interfere? Let's see. We can create an extender pole. There we go. Put an extender on the top so that we can now put the spinners on. Right. Which way are we facing? Well, I'll just do 5. Make sure it's all facing the right way. Now, what we can do is I've extended it so it goes above, because I wasn't sure whether I could always. What I can do actually is do a slight one below. Like that, because it won't interfere. So it's slightly dual bladed, but not overly much. That's fine. Now if we go to the controller here, we want to have continuous, and we want the motor drive, to be always up fraction. Right, so I need to make sure that this is set for a helicopter blade. So I want to make this generally upwards, but it will do some in the direction of turn as well. So we're going to see on that. I had a weird idea, but we'll see if that works. I might give it a little bit of roll as well, just to give it that helicopterish type of effect to it. So although we're not going to have to worry about true, you know, free axis, I think that'd be quite fun. And we will need to give it a bit of aileron control. We're going to give it a slight bit of aileron just in there, either side, so it's got some roll stability, basically from there. Okay, now we need to set up the control blocks. So we need, first of all, height. So if altitude is less than our planned height is 50 meters, then spin block within, I think it's about 4 blocks of this. Let's try 4. Set to maximum. No, it obviously has to be more than that. That's 5 blocks. There we go. Right, let's see if that lifts it, quite simply. Oops. Where's my... Yes, it does. I need to go and put a... I think I need to go and put something on there. Let's go and go onto my vehicle. Well, that's lifting it up to a fair old height. I don't think we have a problem with height, sir. Sir, we seem to be going up very high. But we'll put a chair in here for the moment, because there we go. It'll be easier to control. Right. So now I need it to go down when I want it to. So we're going too high now, which is of no good. We just want it to have enough to hold that sort of height. So let's see, if object greater than, we're going to say 70, so it's got a little bit of an up and down, then spin blocks, set rotation speed within 5, I think it was 5, straight 5 to, we want to have it some lift, but just not too much. So let's get down to, first of all, let's get down to 0. Let's get down to the 50 meters and just see what it does. I think if it bounces between 10 meters, that must be good for targeting, anti-targeting. Ships will find it difficult to target. Okay, let's do this the other way. Let's see how much it needs to do lift. So at the moment, let's set that one to 0. And this one to 10. Let's see if 10 will lift it up. That's a terrible view. I can't see what I'm doing from there. Let's, is it in, it's almost in the water. Almost in the water. Actually, 10 was enough to lift it up. So let's see how much it doesn't need to lift it up then. What height, what power does it not need? Let's go 8. Does 8 still lift it up? Seems like 7. Okay, let's start with 2. These are quite powerful, these rotors. Right, 2's not doing it. 3, will 3 do it? 4. 4 is just lifting it. Okay, the other option I have is obviously change the power effectiveness here. So let's change this, instead of motor drive 10, how about if I change it to 5? Yes, that's so theoretically, if I now do this to double the rate, 8 lifts it off quite nicely. That's quite good. So what we now is a figure which just doesn't quite lift it off. So instead of 8, we'll have, how about 6? So it doesn't slow down totally, it just slows down a little bit. That seems to be holding a height, so it goes 50, that just then accelerates it, so it's going between about 40 and 60. I like that. That's okay. No problems there, sir. Right, okay, let's just sort out it's a little bit heavy that way. A little bit tilted forwards. But I did say I didn't mind that. As such, that was okay with me. If we look at where the forces are being applied, we've got the ailerons are just keeping it from rolling too much. They over do it a little bit. Now we've got no forward force at this moment. So we're gonna need, we'll put a single jet here as the main thruster forward, I think. Why are you, there we go, there we go. I'm not having a, not going, there we go. Right, okay, so now we have a little bit of forward thrust as well now, although it's thrusting it downwards. So and actually that's working actually okay, because the rotor is countering that and lifting it up. That works nicely as long as it keeps it slightly downward facing on the nose. I quite like that actually. That's not a bad shape. What's the size we've got here? So 382, so it's a little bit bigger than I wanted, but not significant enough to be problematic. Got a bit of metal on it. We will need to, let's just sort out this AI. Where's all the AI figures? Right, AI, let's just reset all to 0. So altitude, it's going to be very heavily just basically aimed at whatever is the lowest target in the water. And we'll test that in a minute. You're facing the wrong way. Let's, there you go. You can get back in there again. Ammo, yes. We'll put a bit of ammo in here. Normally, yeah, it's not a good idea putting it here, but we haven't got a lot of choices, so we'll put some metal blocks in here just between them, just to give a bit of protection in case we get hit. We need a bit of oil as well, some fuel storage. We'll put them at the end here near the front, near the engine block. That should give it some oil. So it's got a speed 17 meters a second, which is fine. If it's chasing down vehicles in the water, it doesn't want to be too fast because the underwater vehicles are fairly slow. So we've given it a bit of ammo. We need to give it some ammo processors as well. So we'll go with just a couple of small ammo barrels, but give it more, not fuel processors, give it ammunition processors, I think, as its primary reload mechanism. One there. One there. I can get one below. Yeah. There we go. Still got a bit of room in here if I need to put anything in there. So a little bit of space inside. Are we still keeping height? We're keeping height. It's keeping a reasonable 60 going up and down on those values. So that's fine. I could make it go up and down a little bit. Wobbles a little bit. A couple of ways. I could take these ailerons out, but I quite like the idea of this rolling. Okay, let's sort out the AI controller. Where are we? Here we are. So cruising height is, as we've already said, 50. Now we're going to make it 60, so it will there. Lowest altitude is 50. And angle for turn, we want to keep it so it keeps fairly on target. But if something's way out, it will put a little bit of roll in here. It will try to roll it in the direction of the target. Not too much, but a little bit. Right, attack runs. It starts its attack run at about, say, 400 meters. And I think we'll set the abort at 200. So it will keep on going for... No, we need to set this at 100. So it's going to constantly try and keep above the target as much as possible. That should be fine. Okay, what are we going to call this? I'm happy with this now. To give this a little bit of a test. You know, taken a little while to build, but it's okay. Now, changes you could do if you want to go for a total relook of a helicopter. You could put some rotors on the back, maybe change the way that the power is provided. Other bits could be done to try and make it balance a little bit, but I quite like this nose forward attitude. It is reminiscent of a true helicopter style of system. Okay, it's got a slight wobble, but that's not problematic, I don't think. So, okay, let's vehicle. What are we going to call this then? The other one was the air fang. So, what have we got here? Helicopter-y. Anti-sub. What's the how about the air stone dropper? No, I've got it. I'm going to call it the skipper at the moment. Air skipper. The reason for that is I'm thinking, you know, when you you throw stones and they skip across the surface of the water. Okay, it's loose, but I've got to think of something. Okay, let's just save this vehicle before it goes anywhere. And now let's give it a test. And welcome back. And after, it's a little bit loud here, so I do apologise for that. But after a little bit of combat testing on its own, I've made a few changes, but I thought I'd do the main combat test using the spawning from the sea carrier, just to make sure it all works as is planned. So this should spawn two air skippers against the target, hope that we will be bringing on. I've had to make a few changes to the depth charges, which I'll go through once we've seen the combat test, just to show you how it works. So if we start off by bringing in, we're going to bring in a saw shark, which is a not too difficult a target. So there he is, he's starting off. We might bring in two actually, just to ensure. Now obviously the air carrier is going to try and bring it in, and here we have our first one being spawned. Now he is being spawned downwards like that, but he is avoiding our vessel, so that's okay. And he should drop off and fly away. Excellent. We'll keep an eye on him, just so that we can see what's happening. So he's now going to be flying towards the target. He is already firing some of his own missile air interceptors against the incoming missiles. And I must change that. Now he's going to go down his rotors, and we should have a second one being built up there, I think. No, not yet. Oh, he's healing our platform, but okay, I put a little targeting laser on the top just so that we can see what he's aiming at, 'cause I like that. So he should go down to about 50 meters. He's gone down a little bit lower than that, actually. He's gone a little low, and now he should be pulling himself back up again. Hopefully, with any luck. No, that's unusual. Certainly not what was intended with the ship. I don't think I'd made that many changes. Let's just check to make sure that these are working. Okay, looks like it needs a little bit more power. There, okay, let's put that up to 9. 9, test. Typical when I start doing something is not quite working as originally planned. That's all a-okay. That looks fine. He's just not getting any lift. Let's just see if I need to give it a bit more. Let's give it full lift. That's working at 30. Let's see if it works at 16. Whoops. I don't think the power's, for some reason, it's not putting the power in. Okay, well, I'll look at that separately. Okay, so we got mines dropping off. Now we'll go and have a look at these, what's happening here. Now, the mines, what I had to do, and it's put me well away from the target now, which is not good, is I gave them different depths. Just setting the buoyancy at -5, they went very quickly to the bottom of the sea. So what I've done is I've sort of put them in a bit of a string at 10-meter depths, and then some which are slightly deeper, and some which just home in on anything. So the depth charges are a little bit slightly different now. The torpedoes worked very well. So these are dropping a nice load of mines at various depths around the target. Now they won't survive too long. The hope is that some of them are over the top of it. Our torpedoes are working quite well, as you can see. They seem to lock onto and come into the target quite nicely. Even the sonar one was doing a very good job, and it seemed to be quicker than the infrared one when underwater. To me, that's so, which again was a good sign. Looks like again our helicopter is he's okay. I'll have to have a look at those settings. There's something for when it spawned in. It looks like it's not giving the power setting to this rotor blade. Where is it? In here we have this 5 motor drive, and it just does not seem to be setting that value. So we'll I'm going to make the change now to this block. Where are we? 6 and 16. So I'm going to make that 18. We've definitely got enough lift, and we'll make this, say, about 12. That should keep it around the right height, and I'll just save that one. Save vehicle. Skipper. There we go. Now the only thing that's a little bit, so we've taken out one, and there is actually our other one, which obviously hasn't got the change. So we will quickly go down and just make the same change to it. Then we'll have 2 of these hunting down our enemy. Bear with me 1 second. Might be easier to do this and retrofit to the latest version of the Air Skipper. Let's see if it will do it and sort itself out. But anyway, we have taken out those subs, and the basic idea has worked. So yeah, changes I made. We'll use, where's the flying one here? Obviously we've got that little issue there with the which may be a bug actually, not giving the power to the rotors when it comes in. That's a bit of a pain. I'll have to keep an eye on that. I might actually change this one more time to say, so if this, because if they change that and get rid of that bug, then it means it will suddenly just stop working. It'll fly off like nobody's business. Oh, okay, no, that is actually working. Bring it back to 5. Just for some reason, maybe it's because my character's not on board. When my character is on board, again, one of my buffs is potentially changing the value. Okay, changes are made. So in these depth charges, the ballast tanks now have a setting. They have a buoyancy of -1 to make sure that they sink. But now I've changed them so like 10, 20. Up here it should be 50. So they'll float down at 50 meters down, and then these ones at the end are 0. So they'll effectively just track down the target at whatever range is possible. Oh, it looks like we've brought in a third one, maybe. Okay. So that's how the only real change I made there. I put for the Interceptor missiles, I put a stagger in there because they weren't staggered previously. But you can see that they are tracking down, and the flares as well. The enemy missiles are going for the flares, which is quite good. The connector at the back, I had it so originally, if you remember, there was some limitations to the block. If we can find it here, I had it so that it was all pointing down on the constraints. Ended up taking those off and just putting it on a range constraint. That just didn't work as expected and as I wanted to. Problems with the ship. It is a little susceptible. It's good when going in against enemy, that it takes out their missiles and fires up torpedoes. What I did find was that enemy missiles do hurt it quite badly, and I was getting a lot of against certain ships. I'll say that again. So I'll start saying that again. When the enemy, when it goes above and missiles are coming from the rear, then our missile detector doesn't detect it, and therefore it was getting shot from the rear. But with the torpedoes and the other bits, it's actually doing quite well at taking the enemy out in a single pass on a single submarine, and it's there working as a pair or a group. You can see it's dropping its depth charges here. And they will be gradually aiming towards the enemy, which is over here. Is he going away or coming towards us? He is actually going away from us at the moment. Torpedoes are reasonable. Certainly torpedoes were the main way it was taking out the enemy, but you can see these the mines are trying to come down. Oh, there was a nice mine hit there. Dropped it straight on top of him. That was very nice. That was depth charges directly from above, I think, or it could even be from missiles from the carrier, to be honest. So, okay, overall, I'm getting a little waylaid. Overall, happy, and it is spawning from the ship quite nicely. So that is our second ship in action. The air skipper. I'm open to any better suggestions for names. Not air skipper. It's okay, but it's not necessarily a brilliant name. As I say, any better ones, please let me know. I'll quite happily come up with something. But until next time, leave any comments below about this. So the next ship will potentially be a more... we're going to go for a heavy bomber. So if we've got a very large ship that needs to be taken out. It's got a lot of blocks, basically. We need a bomber which is gonna drop a whole shed load of missiles on that vehicle. So in this sort of situation here, where he's actually above the surface, we're gonna drop a whole load of items on him. He's doing quite well here, actually. That's very nice. And take them out in not single pass, but try and do as much block damage as possible in a short period of time. And that will be our next ship. So until then, keep building, keep fighting, have fun. As always, you know that's the most important thing to do, because if you don't have fun, what's the point? So, until next time, have fun!